Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and a very warm welcome to everyone. Distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, respected researchers and academics, valued participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to welcome all of you to the International Conference on Chemistry for Aquatic and Environment 2026 or ICCAE 2026. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to extend our warmest welcome to all distinguished guests, keynote speakers, presenters, and participants joining us for this important conference. Ladies and gentlemen, for your information, ICCAE 2026 brings together researchers, academicians, scientists, and professionals from various backgrounds to share knowledge, exchange ideas, and explore innovation solutions in the fields of chemistry, aquatic science, and environmental sustainability. We would like to take this opportunity to express our sincere appreciation to the sponsors of ICCAE 2026, whose generous contributions have helped make this conference possible. Our heartfelt thanks go to Permula Sindang Berhad, Rosini Muhammad Ghani, KT Aquarium, and HR team for their contribution towards the success of this conference. Ladies and gentlemen, to begin our program this morning, let us seek blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With that, I would like to invite Ustaz Muhammad Shafiq bin Alias to lead us in the recitation of the prayer. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Allahumma ighfir lana dhunubana wa li ikhwanina alladhina sabaquna bil iman wa la taj'al fi qulubina ghillan lil ladhina amanu. Rabbana innaka ra'ufur rahim. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, kami merafakkan setinggi-tinggi kesyukuran kehadratmu kerana dengan limpahan rahmat dan izin-Mu jua dapatlah kami berhimpun dalam International Conference on Aquatic and Environmental Chemistry for Food Security 2026 pada hari yang penuh bermakna ini. Ya Allah, Ya Alim, kurniakanlah kepada para ilmuwan, penyelidik akademia dan seluruh peserta persidangan ini ilmu yang bermanfaat, pemikiran yang bernas serta kebijaksanaan dalam meneroka ilmu berkaitan kimia akuatik, alam sekitar dan sekuriti makanan. Berkatilah segala perkongsian ilmu, perbincangan dan hasil penyelidikan yang dilaksanakan. Jadikanlah persidangan ini sebagai medan untuk mencetuskan idea, memperkukuhkan kerjasama serta menghasilkan inovasi yang mampu menyumbang kepada kelestarian alam sekitar, pemeliharaan sumber air dan jaminan keselamatan makanan. Ya Zal Jalali wal Ikram, bimbinglah kami agar segala ilmu dan pengetahuan yang diperolehi dapat diterjemahkan kepada tindakan yang bermanfaat untuk masyarakat, negara dan generasi akan datang. Jauhkanlah alam sekitar daripada pencemaran dan kerosakan, serta kurniakanlah kepada kami kesedaran untuk mengurus segala sumber-Mu dengan penuh amanah dan tanggungjawab. Ya Allah, permudahkanlah segala urusan sepanjang persidangan ini. Satukanlah hati kami dalam semangat kerjasama, saling menghormati dan berkongsi kepakaran. Berkatilah usaha para penganjur, penyelidik, pembentang dan seluruh peserta yang menjayakan persidangan ini. Allahumma ja'al jam'ana hadha jam'an marhuma wa tafarruqana min ba'dihi tafarruqan ma'suma wa la taj'alillahumma fina wa la ma'ana wa la man yatba'una shaqiyya wa la matrudan wa la mahruma. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you to Ustaz Muhammad Shafiq for the beautiful recitation. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now proceed with the presentation of the corporate video of University Malaysian Terengganu.
Your application to UMT has been accepted.
At the edge of the South China Sea, where knowledge meets the rhythm of the waves, University Malaysia Terengganu stands as Malaysia's premier institution for marine, aquatic sciences, and sustainability. As Malaysia's marine-focused university, University Malaysia Terengganu leads in research, education, and knowledge transfer, contributing meaningfully to national well-being and sustainable development. UMT offers world-class academic programs in marine science, aquatic biology, ocean engineering, maritime studies, environmental management, and emerging sustainability-driven disciplines, including information technology, business, and policy. Through its diverse faculties, UMT integrates science, technology, policy, and community engagement, delivering holistic solutions towards a sustainable and resilient future. Digital innovation and artificial intelligence are embedded across UMT's curriculum, empowering students to analyze data, innovate solutions, and create meaningful impact from campus or anywhere in the world. UMT's research ecosystem strengthens Malaysia's leadership in marine and aquatic sciences, as well as sustainability. Our researchers contribute to key areas including marine renewable energy, ocean forecasting, climate change studies, fisheries innovation, blue carbon strategies, and biodiversity conservation. UMT is home to 3 Ministry of Higher Education recognized higher institutions centers of excellence, reflecting its critical role in nationally focused research fields. With specialized institutes in tropical biodiversity and marine renewable energy, UMT remains at the forefront of globally emerging disciplines. UMT works closely with government agencies, industry partners, and international institutions to translate knowledge into real-world impact. UMT offers a distinctive student experience through its vibrant seaside campus, inclusive community, and immersive learning environment shaped by nature itself. Here, students develop not only as scholars, but also as leaders and responsible global citizens.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we now come to a significant moment of our program, the official opening of the International Conference on Chemistry for Aquatic and Environment 2026. It is my honor to introduce our distinguished officiating guest, Professor Dr. Muhammad Salmi bin Muhammad Sohud is the chairman of the Board of Directors, University Malaysia Terengganu. He holds a PhD in management from the University of Bradford, United Kingdom, and degrees in manufacturing and industrial management from Western Michigan University, USA. He has an extensive academic and professional career, having served in senior leadership positions at several universities including University Utara Malaysia, University Tun Abdul Razak, Sheikh Hamdan University in Dubai, and Asia Metropolitan University. His areas of expertise include strategic management, operation and industrial management, human resource management, and entrepreneurship. Beyond academia, he has held numerous leadership and advisory positions in government, industry, and higher education, contributing significantly to education, entrepreneurship, technology, and national development. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, may I invite Professor Dr. Muhammad Salmi bin Muhammad Sohud to deliver his official address and officially launch ICCAE 2026. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you to the Master of Ceremony. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Warm greetings and greetings Malaysia Madani. Yang Bahagia Professor Dr. Suryani binti Muhammad, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and International, who is currently carrying out the duties and responsibilities of the Vice Chancellor of UMT. Yang Berusaha Professor Chemist T.S. Dr. Nur Azman bin Kasan, Director of Institute of Tropical Aquaculture and Fisheries, Aquatrop High COE, as the main organizer of this conference. Distinguished keynote speakers, member of the ICCAE 2026 Organizing Committee, esteemed researcher, academics, industry representatives, and students from local and international institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, Alhamdulillah, all praise and utmost gratitude be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His grace and blessing, which allow us to gather today for this knowledge-sharing event, the International Conference on Aquatic and Environmental Chemistry for Food Security, ICCAE 2026. Although this one-day conference is held fully online via the WebEx platform, I'm delighted to see that it has not deterred our commitment in the slightest to continue exploring scientific solutions at a global level. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, today the world faces increasingly complex challenges related to food security and the sustainability of water resources. According to international reports such as the FAO, more than 2 billion people worldwide rely on aquatic resources as a primary source of food and income. However, we are fully aware that the pressure on this aquatic ecosystem is escalating due to chemical pollutions and the impact brought by climate change. Therefore, the choice of this year's conference theme, Chemical Perspective on Emerging Challenges in Aquatic and Environment, is highly significant and timely. This theme invites us to examine the crucial role of chemical sciences as the foundation for understanding, monitoring, and resolving these global challenges. Our conference today features a diverse range of sessions, including keynote presentation, parallel oral session, and comprehensive poster session. Looking at the program, I'm particularly intrigued by the 4 main subtopics that has been deliberated by all of you. First, chemical innovation and technologies in aquatic environment, covering water quality management, chemical technology innovation, as well as the application of nanotechnology and chemical sensors. Second, food security, safety, and halal compliance in aquatic products. Halal compliant and sustainable food safety remain our priorities, where topics such as toxin detection, product shelf life extension techniques, and halal integrity analysis will be thoroughly discussed. Third, Blue economy, sustainable aquatic and environmental chemistry. This topic explores green chemistry approaches, assessment of pollution impact on ecosystem, and the development of ecosystem monitoring tools to safeguard our oceans. Fourth, molecular and analytical chemistry application. These involve micro-level scientific analysis, including advanced analytic technique, molecular biomarker, and molecular interaction in fish growth and nutrition. This broad distribution of scope demonstrate the immense role and potential of chemistry in preserving aquatic ecosystem and securing future food sources. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to remind everyone that ICCAE 2026 is not merely an academic platform. It is a strategic arena that brings together researchers, academia, and industry players to discuss the latest findings and explore science-based innovation solutions. This aligns seamlessly with the 5 core pillars of ACCAE campaign: serving as a global platform, a forum for knowledge sharing, a pioneer for collaboration, a driver for sustainability, and a contributor towards achieving food security goals. I'm immensely proud to observe the widespread participation of local and international delegates, reflecting the high commitment of the scientific community in continuously strengthening global collaborative network. I also understand that the organizer will award e-certificate and special recognition to the best presenter to appreciate your academic excellence. Furthermore, participation in this conference is accompanied by publication of an abstract book as well as publication of selected full papers in the Malaysian Journal of Chemistry, MJChem. This initiative will undoubtedly make substantial contribution to enrich scientific literature and further amplify the international impact of our research. Ladies and gentlemen, as frontline scientists, pioneers, and policy researchers, we must transition from merely understanding issues to creating sustainable solutions. The role of aquatic chemists is essential and vital in providing accurate and detailed scientific data, as well as driving innovation capable of influencing sustainable policies and empowering future industry practices. In closing, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the organizer, Ecotrop High COE, University of Malaysia Terengganu, and everyone who has worked tirelessly to ensure the success of this conference. May the upcoming knowledge sharing session serve as a catalyst for sustainable collaboration and inspire new resolution for our mutual benefit. With the recitation of Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I hereby proudly declare the International Conference on Aquatic and Environmental Chemistry for Food Security, ICCAE 2026, officially open. Thank you very much. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Professor, for the inspiring and meaningful address. We truly appreciate your presence and support in making ICCAE 2026 a memorable and meaningful platform for knowledge exchange and collaboration. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now proceed to the first keynote session of ICCAE 2026. It is my pleasure to introduce our first keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Bong Kyun Song, Professor and Chair of the Ecosystem Health Section at the Virginia Institute of Marine Science, College of William and Mary, USA. He holds a PhD in environmental science from Rutgers University and has extensive expertise in aquatic, microbial ecology, marine science, environmental DNA, microbiomes, and coastal ecosystem health. Professor Dr. Song is also an accomplished researcher, educator, and mentor with numerous international publications, research grants, and professional contributions. Today, he will share his expertise on effects of UV weathering on microplastic toxicity. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let us welcome Professor Dr. Bong Kyun Song for our first keynote address. Professor, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction. Let's see how I can work on this sharing option. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, let's see how that work. Okay. Again, thank you very much for the kind introduction, and also thank you for inviting me as the first keynote speaker for this wonderful conference. I get to know this conference while I was visited Terengganu last May and get invited for this wonderful conference. And I was excited to share my current study, particularly the microplastic, which is probably quite relevant to various topic discussed in this conference. And as microplastic pollution has been widespread and has been various concern about this toxicity. And I will particularly address what we have been studying on the UV weathering on the microplastic toxicity. So my name is Bonggun Song, but people call me BK. That's fine the way. And I'm at Virginia Institute of Marine Science. So as I said earlier, microplastic is ubiquitously present in every environment and is very complex environment contaminant. Microplastic as defined as the based on the size from 1 micron to 5 millimeter sizes. But however, it is quite complicated the way to think about what it looks like it. You can see that there are various sizes on the picture here, and there are also various shape and color. And also, different types of polymers are generating this plastic material. And also, there's more into the component to consider. To simply introduce the idea about plastic, you can have two different categories of plastic you consider. One is a synthetic plastic, which is a synthesized from petroleum. And those are like typical what we see polyethylene, like a plastic bag or plastic bottle, or even harder material like construction material like a PVC, polyvinyl chloride, which you see those on the right here, big tube and those are using for the industrial or construction. And the other hand, also the bio-based product like a bioplastic is also another component which was generated from plant or micromaterial like polylactic acid or polyhydroxyl alkanoid PHA. And those are you can see mostly using for some biodegradable cup or utensil like it. A lot of people start using those bioplastic because synthetic plastics are not degradable and also major issue. So we're moving toward to using more bioplastic nowadays. However, one thing we have to aware with either both the bioplastic and synthetic plastic, the one thing is part of the material going into it. The plastic is not purely based on polymer only. It always adding particular chemical which is called plastic additive. These plastic additives is very important component of plastic material because it need to generate different color and also the different flexibilities. And those are also required to what kind of plastic additive to be added. And even some plastic could have 70% of plastic weight is a chemical additive. And there's at least we have 5,776 non-chemical used as a plastic additive. Not only this non-plastic additive, there's also other types of chemical which is using for the non-intentionally added in the process generating plastic. And so those are the overall plastic associated chemical has a huge numbers associated with it. And so in the processing and commonly using 3,498, and this non-intensive use at least reported 1,788. The huge amount of these chemicals has been added in the plastic material, even further down the microplastic, and those not staying within the plastic forever. This chemical can leaching out, releasing from plastic, and depending on the surrounding condition, in the water or food or aquaculture, either inside organism, and depending on the condition of surrounding, they could releasing some of them depending on the polarity, the water soluble capability wise, or heat. If you microwave your plastic container, they tend to release more chemical, and also changing those pH, also releasing those plastic associated chemicals as well. So based on this chemical coming out, how that affecting to the human and animal as well as other system is still unknown, a lot to study to. So that's food safety, all the component need to be highly considered with those chemicals added. Another interesting component we need to consider, plastic is not only using remaining indoor. Plastic been going out has been dumping outside, and that's exposed to sunlight. When the plastic exposed sunlight UV radiated, that also carrying the photooxidation, which can to the physical chemically changing the structural component of this. And this we can see here, one example, UV weathered or UV not weathered component, the plastic even UV exposed has surface of plastic has been degraded, breaking apart, decomposed, and so generating fragmentation like physical changes happening. So one question is how this UV radiation, UV weathering affecting to this plastic additive or the chemical associated plastic is still a lot of unknown, and how that affecting to the toxicity will be further to consider. And we have been studying microplastics more than 10 years now, and has been studied to more and more understanding about how the microbe can be also affected by microplastic. Because I'm microbiologist, I like to study more the microorganism, and has been other colleague as well, microbiology, showing that how the plastic has been affecting to microbe. And plastic itself can be the good substrate for the bacteria growing as a biofilm. Particular groups of bacteria can grow faster than the other, and also they can change in the composition with it, as well as the effects of biogeochemical cycle may be changing to it. And also, when animal health, so somehow inside the gut could be also altered because of the bacteria associated with the plastic too. One of the great example of how that's a plastic affecting to microbe, which we have, my colleague Meredith Silly and I published a paper in 2020 in Nature Communication, how microplastic affecting sedimentary microbial community and nitrogen cycle. And what you see on the right here is showing the nitrogen cycle figures, how the ammonia oxidized to nitrate, nitrite, which is called nitrification process, which is under the oxy condition, then ammonia transformed to nitrite, nitrate, and then nitrate further transform changing to either N2 or ammonium under anoxic condition. That process nitrate to going to N2 called denitrification, or nitrate converting to ammonium is called dissimilatory nitrate reduction to ammonium to nitrate reduction to ammonium is DNRA. And also another pathway, nitrite and ammonia combined to making N2, that's called NMR. This overall nitrogen cycling process can be altered, affected by microplastic. In this study, Meredith and I did testing to 4 different types of plastic, especially in the microplastic form. We use 3 synthetic plastic, polyethylene polyvinyl chloride, polyurethane foam, and these are the one is commonly found in our living and many available. And these microplastic was using from this generated from this commonly used common plastic use. material. And then also we including PLA, lactic acid, which is bioplastic component, to testing whether the sediment community is affecting by exposure of this microplastic in nature. And instead of showing all the data, I just want to address one particular pathway. It's a nitrification, which is converting ammonium to nitrate, which is very important process in wastewater and nature, and removing nitrogen. And here, what they're showing in this figure, I'm showing the gene which is associated with ammonia oxidation to nitrate, ammonium monooxygenation, AMOA. And in the plot here, the CON is a control which has no plastic added, microplastic added. And then the other showing that the different types of microplastic been added in the sediment together community. As you can see, the PVC added the sediment community has a very low abundance of AMOA gene, but the other hand, PE, PUF, PLA show much higher. So interestingly, this PE, PUF, PLA may promoting the nitrification, but in the other hand, PVC is not the cases. And further, we examine the activity based on monitoring these products of nitrification. Ammonia is a substrate, and then convert nitrite, nitrate. And the same way, the coding for that the each treatment control PE, PVC, PUF, PLA. And what you see here in the ammonium plot has a very high accumulation ammonium with the PVC and control, but very low about those concentration in PE and PUF, PLA. But the product of the nitrite and nitrate was very different way. In PVC and PVC's case, there's no production of nitrite, nitrate, which show the nitrification completely shut down in the case of the PVC added in sediment community. So this was the first demonstration showing that how the microplastic can inhibit very important biogeochemical cycle like a nitrification. And so, but we didn't have further explore from this study, but we like to going into next step, which you get in my the current PhD student she just completed, Mara Walter. She continued on this study, try to finding out. Particularly, we are working with the bacteria or archaea in the nitrification inside this sediment, pure culture study. We like to test that whether this particular the organism pure culture has showing the inhibition what we found in the sediment study. And also Mara also want to explore not just the cases of the regular plastic component to it, also she like to explore if the UV treatment, UV radiation can be affecting to those toxicity event again. So that's why she explored to it. And particularly she's working on the Nitrosospira, this AOB bacteria as a study material, and she has been studied examining the microbial toxicity associated with the microplastic exposure. And so the two things I like to address today is one is showing that our investigation, our experiment, showing the how on weather or UV weather the microplastic affecting nitrification activity of this particular pure culture. And also we further like to introduce idea about how the UV weathering alter the chemicals on the plastic material. So in Mara's experiment, she used the same four plastic we use in the Merida's study, but in this case, she has another treatment, adding UV treatment. So she exposed those microplastic to 82 hours of the simulated sunlight in Florida sunlight, and exposing to how the UV can be alter the structural any component to it. And with that treated microplastic, she put together an experiment with a culture of Nitrosospira, and one set without UV treated the unweathered the microplastic PE, PLA, PUF, PVC, and then the other set she has the one with UV weathered or UV exposed to microplastic, and she used 1 grams or liters of concentration. and one control which has no plastic added in there. And she measured the production of nitrate to calculate the nitrification rate. And what we found here, this plot is summarizing overall whole chapters, one of the first chapters of dissertation. And in this case, what you see on the right y-axis, that's a nitrification rate, concentration of nitrate production over time. And the control with the control PE, PLA, PUF, all of them showed a very similar rates of nitrification, whether those are UV treated or not. Interestingly, the PBC, which one without the UV treatment showing the inhibition, but the one with UV treated, the inhibition has disappeared. So somewhat is agree with earlier sediment community study. We have PBC added, which inhibit nitrification. Now PBC again inhibit nitrification in this bacteria, but in the other hand, UV exposure somehow changing lift out the release, the inhibition, make available the bacteria carrying on the ammonia oxidation, which was very interesting. And we tried to finding out what is the causing this shift. So one component we tried to identify the cause of this. We tried using the pyrolysis GC mass spec analysis, mass spectrometer, try to identify what kind of chemical on that PVC plastic. And this is the chromatogram comparing two PVC material. One blue is the one PVC without UV treatment, and then the red or light brown color, that is the one with UV treated. What you can see here in the peak of a 15-minute y-axis, the green, which is present only in the unweathered PVC, un-UV treated, and then that's been showing something other here. And they zoom in into here, what we found out in the PVC without UV treatment, there's a TPHPI, which is triphenyl phosphate, which is a disappear as we expose to UV, and then increase a different compound called THPP, which is triphenyl phosphate. So we see the shift of this compound. And then in the other hand, another one of the most abundant chemical, which is diethyl hexyl phthalate, which has no changes with UV exposure. So now we found interesting shift in this the triphenyl phosphate in here. In the case, if you look at the structure, triphenyl phosphate has a phosphate with 3 oxygen attached to the 3 benzene ring. And with UV exposure, the oxidation happening introduce 1 oxygen and changing the structure in KLA, and this get generating triphenyl phosphate. Now, question is, this one changing is really affecting to the activity, or this triphenyl phosphate itself is toxic. So we did the testing, there's a toxicity test with triphenyl phosphate and phosphate in different concentration with this bacterial culture. And the first figure here showing that to the triphenyl phosphate, and with increasing of triphenyl phosphate concentration, we see clear inhibition of nitrification activity in this nitrosospira. But in the other hand, triphenyl phosphate, which is a product from oxidation, has no inhibition effect, which proved that, okay, this triphenyl phosphate is the key inhibitor for the nitrification, which is a toxic for the ammonia oxidizing bacteria, which is causing the issue. However, if those PVC exposed to sunlight outside long enough, the inhibitor can converting the non-inhibiting compound can be disappear. So this is starting to be very interesting idea to explore further to what kind of chemical has been changed with the UV exposure. Because we already generated UV treated, the also non-treated the microplastic with this 4 different polymer type, we are looking into the the chemical additive in the plastic and start looking into it. So we look for the total 47 different chemical additives here in the 16 of organophosphate ester, and also 14 different phthalate compound, and then 17 different alternative plasticizers we targeted to study. And this study was conducted in Hanyang University in Korea because we have collaborated Professor Moon Hyo-bang. He has a great lab to analyzing all these contaminant chemical and all the standard well set up. Mara went to his lab and conducted experiment to the organic solvent extraction from the plastic, and then using that extract to do the GC top MS analysis to identify whether presence of this targeted chemical, as well as quantify them with the calibration curve. And this is showing here a few examples. The first on the top showing the PU app, and you have two different color. One is pink, is unweathered, not UV treated, and the light orange is those are the one UV weathered. What you can see here, a lot of chemical we targeted has been detected from PU app. Out of 47, we found 29 chemicals present in PUF, which has the highest number in here. And also you can see the difference of the concentration in the unweathered versus UV weather, the shift of concentration showing up here. And PLA, which is a bioplastic, which was interesting, we only found only one chemical as we targeted. So which is one way maybe bioplastic has less additive chemical contaminant to it. And now we're adding the PVC, which was our main story. And PVC has 19 chemicals as among our targeted the chemical, we find it. And one interesting thing we hear, I like to highlight in the arrow, the PUF cases, TPHP, which is triphenyl phosphate, which was higher in the unweathered plastic, but it reduced with UV exposure. However, in the PVC case, it's opposite. And then there was the unweathered cases lower than in the triphenyl phosphate as UV exposure that got higher. So there's some different types of the chemical reaction happening with this UV radiation, changing this concentration. So depending on what kind of chemicals present, this gives you the many different way to think about toxicity associated with it. So like to summarize what I'm presenting, the unweathered PVC was the only microplastic type has inhibitory effect on nitrification. And particularly we found that triphenyl phosphate is the chemical of key inhibiting the nitrification. And further study we explore, we found out these different types of the plastic associated chemical has altered with UV exposure, and that could have somehow future impact on the toxicity. So one take-home message here, when you study microplastic toxicity, we should examine including the plastic additive, not just what's in their natural, native or unused plastic, but also in the environmentally exposed plastic. We need to look it into because they changing those chemical structure and composition, and that could be the important factor to consider for future microplastic toxicity study. I'd like to acknowledge my collaborator BIMS and Rob Hale and Merida Silly and Jihyun Cha, a great help for the chemical analysis. And also like to acknowledge the colleague in Hanyang University, Dr. Hyo-bang Moon and Sori Mo. And this study was funded U.S. EPA Environmental Protection Agency and Puriman's Family Foundation Fellowship. Thank you for your attention. I will take any question from here.
Our question and answer session. You can turn on your microphone and ask your question, or you may also type your questions in the chat box. So the floor is now open for questions. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Good morning. Thank you, Prof. Vicky. I'm Naraini. Basically, I start the question first. Okay, from your research, basically, considering the decomposing of the microplastics and future microplastic toxicity, so what is, from your opinion, what is the best microplastic or the safest one that can be used, in terms of lessened harm to the environment and also to the health for the human population? Yep.
Mhm. Well, thank you for the question. Actually, we are about to explore that question. We also asking ourselves too. So, we've been getting more into this plastic additive study. So, one thing I showed earlier, the PLA, the bioplastic, which has only one targeted chemical additive found. So, it give you the much less of a chemical additive added. But also the other like a polyethylene or PH, those has much less chemical than the PVC or PUF. I think PUF is one of the big issue because we are using the PUF as a sponge and in the cushion, and many of them exposed to it, and also easy to breaking down and making dust. There's a lot more chemicals in it. So some of those like low density plastic, the PET or PE, which has less chemical. So it's all come back to the idea about the purpose of the plastic, what is generating, what's the useful. There's a different levels of the different types of chemical and different concentrations added.
You can also type your questions in the chat box if you are shy to speak. No? Okay, all right. Thank you, Professor, for that insightful and informative presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now proceed with our second keynote session. Our second distinguished keynote speaker is Associate Professor Dr. Hasrizal bin Sha'ari from the Faculty of Science and Marine Environment, UMT. He holds a PhD in Earth System Science from Hokkaido University, Japan, and specializes in marine geochemistry, marine geosciences, marine geoarchaeology, and paleoenvironmental studies. He has extensive experience in research, teaching, and academic leadership, and has served as a director of the Center for Research and Field Services at UMT and head of underwater archaeology research. Today, he will share his insights on ambergris chasing the ocean's floating coal. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Associate Professor Dr. Hasrizal Sha'ari.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Okay, first of all, this is a very good opportunity for me to introduce our research. But for the beginning, I would like to say that I will talk about general ambergris, which is entitled Chasing the Ocean Floating Gold. But before that, I would like to say thank you to Professor Dr. Muhammad Salmi bin Muhammad Sohud, Chairman of the Board Director, UMT. Professor Dr. Suraini binti Muhammad, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and International, who is currently carrying out the duties of the responsibility of Vice Chancellor, UMT. Professor Dr. Muhammad Ikhwan bin Abdullah, Deputy Vice Chancellor, University of Malaysia Terengganu. Professor Chemist TS Dr. Noor Azman bin Kassan, also Director of Institute of Tropical Aquaculture and Fisheries, Aquatrop. So this very good opportunity for us to share when we're talking about ocean decades and also SDG, which come with the International Conference on Aquatic Environmental Chemistry. So I would like to share about our work passed back 5 years ago, and we are on the journey to get recognition of ISO now. Okay, the paradox of the ocean floating goal. Actually, as you can see, the left-hand side is a sperm whale, which is the origin form in the digestive tract of the sperm whale, often referred as the whale poo or whale vomit. And you can see that the high price, about the kilogram, it can reach about 40,000 ringgit, which is very 30,000 USD is very expensive. So you can imagine how rare this chemical compound to the industry. And one of the chemists stated this compound as humid, earthy, fecal, marine, algoid, tobacco-like, and musky and radiant. So, and the rarity about this compound, you can see that's about 1 to 5% of the sperm whale. Not all the sperm whale produce the ambergris. And based on this global culture heritage, you can see that it's a millennium of demand, start from the ancient China, known as long Yixiang or dragon spittle fragrance, and then go to the Middle East during Islamic medicine, medieval Europe, which carried a word of full mice believed to carry black deaths, and in 18th to 19th century, it used to be. So you can see that many use of this compound. So what you can see, this substance is with genuine millennial of documented global demand. And even you can see that the 1994 Dutch medal is also show the ambergris. Okay? And when we go for the biological anomaly born in the deep of this species of sperm whale, actually it's contained in digestible squid beak or pens. So, and then it's covered by layer and layer accretion of solid layer built over time to protect the whale gut. Actually, it's a process of protective inner part of a sperm whale. And that's why it's become, after that, it's become the precious or expensive material. Okay? Then the texture shift to the soft and waxy when young, hardened into light, crusty mass over decades. And after that, color spectrum is changed. Range to the dark black brown when fresh to the pale of gray to the silver white when aged. So this is a process actually in what happened in the sperm whale. And when we go to the genetic and pathology tree curve for the caprolite formation, so these four process: irritation, obstruction, water absorption, and lastly, accretion to the environment. So based on this formation of substance of ambergris, we can know genetic of the sperm whale itself. So that's why when we talk about this ambergris, at the beginning, we try to map the origin of ambergris. But until now, I will share later, but we still don't have the genuine of ambergris during the process of identification or analysis. Okay? When it go to the environment, it releases the environment, the growing mass eventually scratch the rectum until it rupture, releasing the boulder into the cool salt water currents, and then it drift in the ocean, follow the current, and the environmental sunlight and also seawater will change the physical of ambergris, and then until it will discover, if we can say, this kind of process. That's why normally when people send a sample to us at the first time when they ask me, our team whether this ambergris or is a fake, what we can say, based on the geography of our region, Malaysia, especially I'm talking about Malaysia, I can say this region nearly impossible we can find ambergris. Because of what? Because of sperm whale is a deep diver, and the average of depth in our region, our Malaysia region, South China Sea, Strait of Malacca, I can say about 50-meter depth. So nearly impossible we can find any ambergris in this region. Okay. And as I told you, that solar and saline metamorphosis will change the maturation of gradients. So at the beginning, the color is black, like a black, fresh raw, and it changed to gray, curing. And later on, about a decade maybe, it changed to the white edge, decade. So the texture also changed from soft, dark, resinous, and texture changed to the hardening, dense, and later on to the light, crusty, and brittle. These are the changes process when it's disclosed to the solar and also saline water. So, actually, from the ambergris, there's a lot of lipid actually. Lipid and also chemical compound, but the most precious component or compound from the ambergris is the ambrion. Because of what? It can prolong the perfume. Let's say high quality perfume, it will use the ambrion. This compound is very important. And there's a occurring sterol like coprostenone and also coprosterol. These are normally it comes with these two compounds. Okay. So this is a simple analogy about normally in the Malaysian dishes we use a pandanus leaf. We don't want pandanus leaf actually. We want the aroma of pandanus leaf. So it's similar with the ambergris. We don't want the ambergris itself. We will extract the ambrion from ambergris because this precious compound, it will prolong the good aroma or the luxury aroma of the perfume. Okay. And lucky I wear the same shirt here, so that means I'm in the team during the analysis. Okay. So, based on this picture, okay, you can see at the right-hand side and the below photo, we cannot distinguish which one actually the genuine ambergris. So, I can bear that if I ask you, it's very, very difficult for us to distinguish the genuine of ambergris, but this is based on the physical or characteristic of ambergris. That's why we need to undergo the chemical extraction to identify the genuine of ambergris. That's why when people send a sample, they will ask us, Doctor, which one is the genuine? Is it genuine the ambergris? I cannot say yes because we cannot 100% sure this ambergris. Okay, so that's why I suggest for them to go for the three analysis I will show you. Okay, later on. So now, because of very rare to find the ambergris, now people shift to the synthetic. We call it ambroxan. Because of what? Because of sources, ethical status, cost and availability, and thin character. That's why now people try to use the ambroxan. But it's come back to the prolong of aroma, perfume. Normally, people will use the natural ambergris. Okay? So, for the authentic, genuine analysis, normally we here in the UMT, we use three analysis, which is a melting point. We know that every component of every compound, they will have their own melting point. Gas chromatograph, GCMS, and the last one is density by using the picnometer. Based on these three analyses, we'll issue the genuine certification. But in this session, I cannot share the result and also the certification due to the process of we try to apply ISO 17025 this year. Okay? And when we talk about conservation ethic and international law, we know that the sperm whale fall into the CITES protection. So that's why it's difficult actually, very strict. If people want to, let's say, one day, our client or customer found the origin, genuine ambergris, if they want to export, they should have the certification approved by Department of Fisheries Malaysia. So, and then Department of Fisheries Malaysia only acknowledge UMT as the certificate provider. So that's why normally people will send a sample to UMT and to get the genuine certification if they can find the genuine ambergris. So, and then the ethical, impressive, scientific authentication protect marine ecosystem. This is very, very strict. And you can see that the flotsam paradox between the UK, EU, and ZEX. Beeswax ambergris is considered the natural shed wash. So that means the shed waste product and it's completely legal to trade. So that means there is two conflicts between the region. For EU, UK, and NZEC, they allow if the ambergris is discovered like in the ocean or beach. But US and Australia prohibited entirely under stringent Endangered Species Acts. They not allow the trade of any part of ambergris, part of the sperm whale. Okay. Discovery of floating gold. You can see that many articles, many news show the discovery of ambergris a lot around the world. New Zealand, for Southeast Asian region also, we found that many discovery. Indonesia, Malaysia, of course, and then Philippines, Thailand. But for Malaysia, it's about start from 2023, 40 sample. We analyzed for genuine ambergris. 2024, 56, 57, 25, 90, and now still counting 26, 40 sample. Is it genuine? No. Until now, we couldn't find any genuine ambergris yet. So, because of what? Back to the geography that I told you before, we are located in the Southeast Asia, South China Sea, Malacca Strait. It's difficult to find the sperm whale. If we cannot find the sperm whale, how we can find the ambergris? So, but still, it's appear in Shopee, the platform in Malaysia. It costs you about 1 kilogram RM, 175,000 ringgit. It's about, if I'm not mistaken, nearly 70,000 USD. Yeah, it's very expensive. But is it genuine? I don't know. If you want to buy, you can go to this website and found the ambergris, and okay. For the frontier, future research opportunity that we can go through is will genomic. Yes, that is what we try to go for the mapping based on the whale genomic. But as I told you that it's very difficult to find this species in Malaysia region or Southeast Asia region. But in the Indian Ocean, maybe yes. In the Pacific Ocean, yes. South China Sea or Malacca Strait, maybe I can say no to find this species. And also we can study the microbiome co-evolution, convergence evolution. These are very promising that we can study for the opportunity. And the alchemy of nature, cultural legacy, chemical mastery, and biological wonder. So if we can find this genuine ambergris, there's an opportunity for us to make the future study and go for the what you call it? Now we are in the process of we're talking about blue ocean economy. So we can see this is a blue ocean economy also. If we can generate income via this natural ambergris. So I also want to promote this team who very ambitious and very dedicated to study the genuine ambergris. But we do hope that we can found one day the genuine ambergris. So it's like the process is there. The team is there, and we just hope to find a genuine ambergris in the future. So, without further ado, thank you very much.
Thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Hasrizal bin Shari, for that fascinating and enlightening keynote presentation. I will now move on to our Q&A session. So if you have a question, you are welcome to turn on your microphone and ask it directly. Alternatively, you may type your question in the chat box. So without further ado, the floor is open for questions. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Doctor, my name is Nuzura from UMT.
Okay.
So based on your slide,
Yes.
that you analyze sample from 2023 to 2026, right?
Yes, correct.
So you find out that all the sample is not genuine, right?
Yes, correct.
So
Not
I
me,
wonder,
my team.
Okay. I wonder if
Yes.
there's any chemical characteristic that could help distinguish genuine ambergris or non-genuine samples.
Okay, like I told before during the presentation, we have three methods to identify the genuine of ambergris. But the most important analysis is by using the chemical analysis, by using the GCMS. Because of what? Because we have the genuine ambergris, like a reference sample, and we compare actually the retention time of the peak when go through the GCFID or GCMS, and we try to match the retention time, also the chemical compound that's appear between the sample and also the reference, the original reference. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Okay.
Okay, Dr. Hasrizal, we have a question here.
Yes, okay.
From Ain Farina. Doctor, as for the extraction process, is it the same as essential oil extraction by using steam distillation. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, there is we not develop this analysis. We use the method developed by one professor in UK, and we try and error several times by using the solvent there. I think based on the method of extraction, I can say yes, but I cannot reveal because of these what you call it, the secrets of the laboratory. But I can say that the process is similar that's of the extraction organic compound, like a lipid compound. Yeah.
Any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? No, I guess. So thank you very much, everyone. And thank you very much, Dr. Hasrizal, for the presentation.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now move on to the participant presentation sessions, beginning with topic A. To guide us through the session, I would like to invite the chairperson and timekeeper for topic A, Associate Professor Dr. Nurul Ulfa binti Karim, and Associate Professor Chemist Dr. Hafiza binti Muhammad Suki to take over the session. Please welcome.
A sessions of ICCAE 2026 entitled Chemical Innovations and Technologies in Aquatic and Environment. My name is Nurul Ulfa binti Karim and I will be the chairperson for this session. I will also like to introduce our timekeeper, Associate Professor Chemist Dr. Hafiza binti Muhammad Zuki. And before we begin, I would like to briefly explain the format of this session. Each of the presenter will have 12 minutes for the presentations, followed by 3 minutes of questions and answer.